Hare Krishna. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, verse number 27, Canto 3rd, chapter 25. Asevayayam prakritir gunanam jnanena vairagya vijrambhitena yogena mayarpitaya cha bhaktya mam pratyagatmanam iha varundhe. Asevayayam prakritir gunanam jnanena vairagya vijrambhitena yogena mayarpitaya cha bhaktya mam pratyagatmanam iha varundhe. Asevayayam prakritir gunanam jnanena vairagya vijrambhitena yogena mayarpitaya cha bhaktya mam pratyagatmanam iha varundhe. Synonyms, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Asevaya, by not engaging in the service, avya, this person, prakrite gunanam, of the modes of material nature, jnanena, by knowledge, vairagya, with renunciation, vijrambhitena, developed, yogena, by practicing yoga, mai, unto me, arpitaya, fixed, cha, and bhaktya, with devotion, mam, unto me, pratyak atmanam, the absolute truth, iha, in this very life, avarundhe, one attains. Translation. Thus, by not engaging in the service of the modes of material nature, but by developing Krishna consciousness, knowledge in renunciation, and by practicing yoga, in which the mind is always fixed in devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one achieves my association in this very life. For I am the Supreme Personality, the Absolute Truth. When one engages, purport, when one engages in devotional service to the Lord in the 9 different kinds of Bhakti Yoga, as enunciated in authoritative scriptures such as hearing, Shravanam, chanting, Kirtanam, remembering, offering worship, praying, and offering personal service, either in one of them, or 2, or 3, or all of them, he naturally has no opportunity to engage in the service of the 3 modes of material nature. Unless one has good engagements in spiritual service, it is not possible to get out of the attachment of material service. Those who are not devotees, therefore, are interested in so-called humanitarian or philanthropic work, such as opening a hospital or charitable institution. These are undoubtedly good works in the sense that they are pious activities, and their result is that the performer may get some opportunities for sense gratification, either in this life or in the next. Devotional service, however, is beyond the boundary of sense gratification. It is completely spiritual activity. When one engages in spiritual activities of devotional service, naturally he does not get any opportunity to engage in sense gratificatory activities. Krishna conscious activities are performed not blindly but with perfect understanding of knowledge and renunciation. This kind of yoga practice, in which the mind is always fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotional in devotion results in liberation in this very life. The person who performs such acts gets in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya therefore approved the process of hearing from realized devotees about the pastimes of the Lord. It does not matter to what category of this world an audience belongs. If one meekly and submissively hears about the activities of the Lord from a realized soul, he will be able to conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unconquerable by any other process. Hearing or associating with devotees is the most important function for self-realization. Do the Mangalacharya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desha Tarine Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Vesha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. First of all, my humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Seek your blessing so that I can say something which adds value to this hour. My humble obeisances to His Grace Madhupati Prabhu for giving me this seva so that I can do some Shastra reading. Increases my desire for devotional service. We are reading about the discussion between Lord Kapila and his mother Devahuti. In this chapter number 25th, in the section we are in, His Grace Bhurijan Prabhu gives subtitle to this section as from verse number 21st to 24th. He calls it as the recognizing of a sadhu. What are the qualities of a sadhu? And then from 25th to 27th, that's this section, and today is the last verse of that section. He recognizes, he gives the subtitle as the highest yoga, the results of associating with sadhu. What do we get? So we can try to understand it a little bit. That he starts by this wonderful verse about the characteristics of a sadhu, that he is Titikchavaha karunika shuhida sarvadehna ajat satrava shanta sadhava sadhubhushana. So a sadhu's abhushan is what are the qualities of a sadhu? And Lord Kapila is describing that he is tolerant, he is merciful, karunika. He is suhrida sarvadehina. He is the friend of all. And ajat sattva, he doesn't have any enemies. Shanta, he is peaceful. These are the qualities of a sadhu. Now, what are the activities? Then he goes on and then describes that what are the activities of a sadhu. And he says that this sadhu is somebody who is always engaged in the devotional service and will renounce all the other connections, including the family and friends. Okay. And then we see that, Srila Prabhupada, he is a wonderful example of a sadhu, that how he renounced all his connections, even his wonderful situation in Vrindavan, and he traveled to a foreign country with practically no money. I was listening to a discussion Srila Prabhupada was having with his devotees, and he is saying that I didn't have any money. I had 40 rupees, and when he arrived to America, that money had no value. He cannot buy anything with that 40 rupees. So he met one person, and he said that I have this Srimad Bhagavatam, 3 cantos. Can you buy and give me some money? And said, how much it is? Srila Prabhupada said it's $16. So this person gives him $20 for that. And Prabhupada says, now as in foreign country with $20 and 40 rupees. So practically penniless. And from there, Prabhupada goes on and then describes that how the crores and crores of rupees are being spent by devotees to build wonderful palatial temples for Krishna. So there is no attachment. Sadhu does not have attachment, and he is very happy in his position as a devotee of Krishna, a servant of Krishna. And it does not matter whether this person, the sadhu, has $40, $20, or $200 million. The person's situation is same. That reminds me of an anecdote that one time Prabhupada was giving darshan, and devotees with affection, whoever will come, it's a cultural thing that when you are meeting a sadhu, you bring some gift. You bring some Lakshmi or some article you want to present. So somebody brought a very expensive watch for Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada, he took out his watch and then accepted his watch and then wore it. And then the person became happy and then went ahead. Then after few people, there is another person who comes, and he also brings another watch. And now this watch was not as expensive. It was very, very simple watch. But Prabhupada, with the same simplicity, he took out the expensive watch and then accepted this person's watch, which was not so expensive. So with this example, we can understand that there's no attachment, and Srila Prabhupada is just acting as a via medium, and accepting these gifts on behalf of Krishna. Okay. So that is the position, that is the detachment of a sadhu. And what he does, as it is explained in Bhagavad Gita also, that tushyanti cha ramanti cha kathayantasya mam nityam. Similarly, this devotee, katha amrishta shruvanti kathayanti cha. Kapil Dev is explaining that Lord Kapil is explaining that he is always engaged in the, he's always in my shelter, and he is listening to and telling my pastimes. And what does that do? That saying tapanti vividhas tapa netam netamang chetasha. Because there are, tapanti vividhas tapa. There are various type of miseries. We know by various discussions that there are three: Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, and Adhyatmik. There are few which are imposed by or are given by the Devi, Adi Devi. For example, something which does not have anyone's control. For example, some natural calamity, like anavrishti, ativrishti, too much rain or no rain, some tsunami, too much heat, or too much cold. So that comes under the category of Adi Devi. Then Adi Bhautik. Adi Bhautik is the miseries which are imparted by other living entities on on oneself. So for the example of this could be maybe cheating by another person, or maybe getting into the fight by another person, or stealing, theft, or some kind of hurt. We see that there is this very disturbing news which came on October 7th, that the people in Israel, and 1,400 of them, including young kids, women, elderly, nobody was spared by this terrorist organization. They just killed. So that is something which is Adi Bhautik. There's not something which they were expecting. It's just that one group of people just decided to hurt the another person. And that's the nature of material world, that it is, one does not have to, this place is actually designed for such things. Then Adhyatmik means something which, we ourselves are. For example, there is nothing which is happening, but just a simple thought comes that, what will happen if I lose something? Or what will happen if I, get into this? So there is that's something which is not happening, but just by the thought process, we are actually giving ourselves. But Lord Kapil is explaining to Mother Devahuti that these sadhus are actually, their mind is fixed in their mind is fixed in my devotion, and that's why they do not have time to think about, and then they are protected by. It's not that these problems do not happen, but because their mind is fixed, they do not actually, they are titiksha, they're tolerant and they do not worry about them. Okay? And then the final point in that is that once we associate with such devotees, then what happens that we get the benefit of Srila Prabhupada uses this wonderful word called pernicious effects of material attachment. All our problems are because we have attachment at the wrong place. Attachment itself is not wrong. In fact, attachment is very very basic of our liberation. I was reading this wonderful verse yesterday that it's 3:25:15. That font is too small. Try to increase it. Somehow I copied it and it's too small. So let me try to find it here. So wonderful words. Chetah khalasya bandhaya muktaya chatmane matam guneshu saktam bandhaya ratam vapumsi muktaye. Chetah khalasya bandhaya. Consciousness, indeed is the cause of bondage. Muktaye chatmano matam. And then is the cause of liberation also. This consciousness and then the attachment of it, is the cause of bondage and is the cause of liberation as well. Guneshu saktam bandhaya. When we are engaged in or we are attached to the three modes of material nature, then that is the cause of our bondage. Ratam va pumsi muktaye. But the same attachment, when is directed towards the pumsi, that supreme personality of Godhead, it causes the liberation. Such a wonderful thing to meditate upon. That it's the dovetailing of the as we understand that devotion or bhakti is doing the same activities but dovetailing it towards the supreme personality of God. So even our attachment, when it is actually towards the modes of material nature, that this is me, mine, my family, my village, my house, my country, just by that we are into the bondage. Now there's World Cup going on, Cricket World Cup is going on, and neither we are playing nor we are gaining out of any wins or losses, but just by we are associating ourselves with a specific country or a player. When that country or player doesn't perform, we get misery. But if that country or the player is performing really good, then we get the pleasure. It's not that it very well could be that in our previous life we were part of the other side of the country, and it's funny if somebody looks at it from like if we take India versus Pakistan match, because we are associating with India and India won, we get happiness. But at the same time, people from Pakistan, they are associating with the Pakistan team and they lose. Pakistan lost the match, so they're feeling sorrow, sadness, and we don't know. Maybe in previous life we were part of Pakistan, and then this is it's new country, relatively new country, but still, 75 years. So we never know, and we could have gotten the same sorrow or happiness from the other side. So by this we can understand that just by attachment at the wrong place, we are getting the miseries. But if we put our attachment to the right place, that is to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we can, that's absolute. Supreme Personality of Godhead is absolute. So that's why we are protected. We have that same attachment is causing the liberation. Okay? So coming back to this verse, which is that final in this subsection of the highest the highest yoga, that is the devotional service to the Supreme Personality, saying that thus by not engaging in the service of modes of material nature, but by developing Krishna consciousness, knowledge in renunciation, and by practicing yoga in which the mind is always fixed in the devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one achieves my association in this very life, for I am Supreme Personality of God. Now one may question that in this very life, from here, we are, I think that, I'm at a very, beginning level. I'm just trying to experiment with my devotional life. I have some practices given by acharyas. Can I really get liberation just by chanting my rounds? Where I do not feel any taste. And His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj says that don't worry about the taste, because the taste may not come till the end of very life, but right in that last few seconds, last few moments of our life, we may get the taste, and then that's it. That's when we get delivered. So our job is just to continue working, doing our part, and having that faith. Okay? We have an example of forgetting the name, Khatwang Maharaj, yes, who was engaged in the war from the side of Devatas, Devasur Sangram, and he helped Devatas win the war. And after that, Devatas were very happy, and they asked Khatwang Maharaj that, please ask for a blessing, please ask for a boon. We are very happy with your service. And Khatwang Maharaj says that, well, if you want to give me a boon, please tell me how much time I have left in my life. How much of this life I have left. And Devatas said that, well, unfortunately, you have only few moments left. And in just those few moments, Khatwang Maharaj gave up all his worldly duties, fixed his mind in the on the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was delivered. So this example is given in the Shastra to motivate us that, even a moment of attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is good enough for us to achieve the devotional service, achieve the Supreme Personality of Godhead's lotus feet. Okay. And see that we are almost time, but I just wanted to point out this one very beautiful part which Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, that the devotees who are engaged in the Krishna consciousness activities, they do not have time to get into the or even think about the other activities. And there is a very beautiful book. It's a self-help book called Atomic Habits, and that actually talks about that how we can conquer, how we can improve our how we can develop good habits. And one of the things it talks about is impetus. And if we see our devotee's life is actually built around that there are different trigger points which we can use to motivate ourselves in the and then work towards our devotional activities. For example, right when we wake up, we have if we focus on it, okay, now I have to do my sadhana, be it some deities worship, be it a few rounds of chanting, we can actually trigger, similarly, if there are rounds left and then lunchtime comes, those who are Brahman initiated, that's a wonderful trigger point to chant their Gayatri and then perform their a few rounds left. Srila Prabhupada said that he will do, when he was in his Grihastha life, he will do 4 rounds in the early morning and then 4 rounds before each meal of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's how his 16 rounds were done. So such a wonderful way to derive such lessons from different parts and then using it into the service of Krishna. So with that, I would like to stop here. I'm sorry I went a few minutes over. And if there are any comments, corrections, we can take that up in Bhagavad Seva. Do we have Madhupati Prabhu on this part?
Go ahead, Prabhu. Can you go ahead with prayers?
I see you're there, Prabhuji, so if you can leave that will be wonderful.
No, go ahead. You're already speaking. So go ahead with prayers.
Okay. So with that, we can like to conclude our morning program, and a very wonderful rest of the day to everyone. And we can chant the Narsimha prayer. Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jalantam Savitam Narsimha then we can now chant the Vaishnava Pranam Mantra and end the call. Vancha Kalpataruvasya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnava Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.